In their most private moment, BTS open up and reveal the truth about themselves. BTS continue their whirlwind South America tour. Though exhausted, the members are able to battle through by supporting each other mentally and physically. After their wild and invigorating performance in Chile, the members celebrate with a small chimek, chicken and beer party. During this brief respite, the members reminisce about their time as trainees and the early years of their debut. Hear for the first time their earliest impressions of each other and the emotions they experienced when they first began. Hey guys, I'm back for another recap review of Burn the Stage, and this is for episode 3, Just Give Me a Smile. This was a very insightful episode. We got to see the guys, what they do on their time off. We also got to learn what they went through when they were still trainees and their debut days in their early stages of being together. And it was very insightful because we got to learn a lot of stuff that we didn't know about the guys, and some the guys didn't even know either. So it was pretty cool to see this episode. So let's just go ahead and start. Again, if you're new to these recap videos or my channel in general, this is a recap review. It's not a reaction video to Burn the Stage. This is YouTube Red content, like exclusive content. So reacting to it, like uploading clips and reacting to it, will automatically get me a copyright strike, and I do not want to risk getting that. I already went through that. So now that we got that out of the way, if you're here for a recap review, then continue. Thank you for watching. So let's get into this. This is episode 3, like I said, of Burn the Stage, Just Give Me a Smile. We start off the episode with Butterfly playing in the background and shots of the arena. And we're still in Chile, by the way. And I just gotta say, the cameraman, the editors, the producers, etc., who are creating this series, they shot it beautifully. It goes so well with that's why I say editors too, because it goes so well with Butterfly. It's like, damn, you're like, oh my god, I'm in the arena. They're going through the arena, inside, and then where the stage is. They show the guys rehearsing as well, and all of this is shot, well, not shot, but edited in black and white. They're showing it to us in black and white, and it just, I guess, to me, it added more. It made it more intense. I'm gonna be saying that a lot during these recap reviews, and the way they shot it and edited it just made it more intense for me. You're just so we start off the episode there. The guys are rehearsing, like I said, with Butterfly, and Butterfly is just, it starts with Jungkook. I can't sing in Korean nor speak, but you know how Butterfly is, and it's just perfect. It just goes so well together. So we move on to March 12, 2017. We are still in Chile, and it just starts. The episode starts where we left off in episode 2, with Jungkook still in pain, still exhausted, still he looks like he's about to pass out. We're still in it. We're showing Jungkook in the backstage. And from what I think what of course he has staff around, but it starts off with a staff member, I don't know if it's massaging, stretching his neck, but it's just the staff member is going in, they must know something, they must be trained on knowing what to do on cases like this and situations like this. And like I said, the staff member is stretching his neck, and Cookie's just with his eyes closed, and he's just sweating. So one of the staff members is doing that. The other one is patting him down, trying to dry him off the sweat. I think another one is fanning him. So he's still going through it. The members are around looking. We get a little glimpse of Jimin peeking out the stage curtain. You know how there's a curtain to go on stage, and you can just see they're all worried. And Jimin, like I said, he's peeking to see what's going on. Is he okay? Namjoon is next to him. And we go to Hobie's solo interview, And when Hobie is in his interview, he shares with it that the director, I'm guessing the director of like the stage director, tour director, I don't know what director, but he says that the director like says like asks Jungkook if he wants to go on a respirator. And so it's like, so Hobie's like, wow, like you can see it in his face, like he didn't know it was like that bad. Like he kind of knew, but it was like, wow, like he needs to like asking Cookie, like, do you want a respirator? So after we're shown that interview, we cut back to Cookie, and at this point, he is on the respirator. He's having trouble breathing. The staff members like helping him, and it's intense. Like in the previous episode, I was like, whoa, like I we got the preview to this episode, and I knew it was going to continue, but I was just like, oh my God, like he's going through it. And I felt it. Like I was like, oh my, like I felt it. I know you did too if you watched it. While he's on the respirator, you hear like another staff member say like a minute and a half to go back on stage. Like there's like, and it's like, is he gonna, like, this is like legit, like how do I, like, because you guys would be like, well, of course it's legit, but like it's just so, it's so like crazy to see that like what can happen. A minute and a half left to go back on stage, and all of this is going on. Like just when they're about to go back on stage, like Cookie's on a freaking respirator, like he's going through it, and like the fans out there, I'm assuming I mean, I don't know if they saw him having like pain in his face or any, like showing pain, sorry. And so it's just like maybe the fans are completely oblivious to it, and Cookie backstage is like over here with the respirator, and it's just so freaking intense. Like I said, the staff members like a minute and a half to go back on stage. Cookie puts his shirt back on, like he's I love him so much, like, and he's so strong. He puts his shirt back on, he's like, like, let's go. Like you can still see like he has his eyes closed, but he's just like, let's go. Like I knew in his head he was like, I gotta do this, you know. That's so admirable though, like, because anyone can go like through pain like that, and like where you're about to, like, you're completely exhausted, you're about to pass out, and it's easy to say I can't, and no, he gets up and continues. So like with Hobie, we do cut like to interview pieces, like I've said in my past recap reviews, and we're shown with Namjoon, and he's in his solo interview, and something that he says, and I want to quote it because I love our leader. He says the following, quote, "If we don't have Jungkook, it's a lot of damage. It's the same for every one of the 7 members, but Jungkook is our main vocalist." And he continues saying like, since he has the main vocalist, like he has a lot of parts and stuff, and once he's done saying that, there's no replacement for Jungkook. And while he's saying all of this, we are shown clips of Jungkook back on stage. Like we're shown the interview pieces of Namjoon talking, and we're shown while he's talking and saying there's no replacement. It's hard, you know, if we don't have him. Like Cookie's back on stage, like singing and performing, and it's just like, oh my God. And I love our leader, because just when he's saying that, he's like, and it's for every like one of our 7 members. So it's not because just he's the main vocalist. He points that out because yes, Cookie does have a lot of parts and sings a lot, and it's tough, you know. It's tough to replace any member, and you can't do it, you know. Like yes, one member might step in for the other one, but there's a difference between stepping in and replacing, you know what I mean? Because no one can replace each other. They're all unique and their own artists, you know. So we cut to the end of the show. The guys are leaving the stage, and a staff member like holds on to Cookie. Like I think the staff member's like ready. He's like, as soon as they're done, I'm going with Cookie and I'm helping him. Like we got to help him go back. So they escort him to the back to like this room backstage. I don't know what room it is. I think it's just another room where like artists relax or are waiting to go back on stage or waiting at the end of the show, whatever. he takes him back to that room, lays him down like on this like yoga mat or just a mat, I guess, and like a Cookie. I'm like, oh, I'm going through it. Like I'm going through it because I'm like, I thought, yes, he was on the respirator. His eyes were closed, but like he was back on stage. I was like, I'm hoping he feels a little bit better, but I don't think so. I don't think he did. Like he goes back, he lays down, and he's just like he's just laying there. Staff is on him, like helping him, and like the same guy that was like stretching him, he's also helping him, like patting him down and like massaging his neck. And then there's a staff member that before I go to that, all the members are in the room. They're like, "Are you okay?" And Cookie's just like laying there. He's not saying anything. The members are in there, and then they're like, "It's a member, like a staff member says, I think it's best if we take off your pants." So Namjoon says, "Let's go." Hobie's like, "Yeah, let's leave the room. Like just give him some space." So once they're out and everything, it's just the staff members with Cookie, and he's laying down there. And I'm assuming at this point, like Cookie, like tells him like, "No, like don't take off my clothes or whatever," because he's fully clothed and whatever. And there's a staff member that says, "Would you like I think it's best if we take off his socks," and Cookie says like, "No," and then a staff member proceeds to like take it off, like he grabs like his foot and is about to take it off, and like Cookie's like, "No," like I know it's he's going through it, but I did think this like little piece of it was cute, because you can see that like Cookie's like regaining energy, like feeling a little bit better, because when he like moves his leg and he's like, "No, like don't take off my socks," a staff member says, asks him like, "Are your socks your pride?" And when the staff member asks this, like we see Cookie smile for the first time. Like we see him smile, and I'm like, that gives me hope that he's feeling a little bit better. And I know that's the same for like the staff members. Like if this, like I know the staff members like saw him smile and were like, okay, he's feeling a little bit better. I was like, oh, I know like the whole situation was not cute or adorable or whatever. I just thought this part where he's fighting through it, he's so strong that like the staff member, like when he asks like, "Are your socks your pride?" he like smiles because he's like saying, "No, don't take it off." I just thought that little piece was cute. And while all this was going on as well, like Cookie's in his solo interview, and he's saying how that's never happened to him before. He's never collapsed that way. Like it's the first time that's happened to him. And Namjoon also says that like he was worried because he's like, we just started the tour, by the way, because the show already ended. But he's like, we just started the tour, and like I'm in charge of speaking for the group, and like he says, like I don't know what to do in these types of situations. Like I get really worried. So after like the whole sock situation where he's like, "No, like don't take off my socks," like Namjoon says that like at that point, like he sees and he feels that Cookie is feeling better, and he says, "But since I have to speak for us," oh, this is talking about like how he was worried. He's like, "But since I have to speak for us, it's very hard for me when these things happen because I'm also a kid." And that stood out because it reminded me. I knew it, but like it just like I don't know if that makes sense. I knew it, but it reminded me that Namjoon is still young. He's still in his like 20s. He's still like a kid, if you know what I'm saying. So even though he's our leader, he has that pressure of leading and speaking for the group, and it's like it puts things in like perspective, I guess. It's just like, wow, like he has all this like pressure, and like he might get stressed about it. He's the voice of the group. He has to speak for the group most of the time, and it's a lot of pressure, and he's still young. So we also got to think that way, like just imagine, like, yes, maybe because sometimes we're like, oh, he's our leader, like he can say the perfect thing or something like that. We also gotta think, well, no, he might feel pressure that, like, I don't know what to say in these situations, I don't know what to do in these situations, because I'm still a kid. Like, I'm also on the same boat as all these other guys, you know? And it's like, oh God, like, you're right, Namjoon, we also gotta, like, think about that as well. So after all this, we finally see Cookie stand up, and he smiles and he says to everybody, like, thank you, everyone. He still looks exhausted, but he's fine. Like, he smiled and he's like, thank you, everyone. And you can just see how, like, everybody's relieved, you know? He joins the guys backstage where everybody's at. You know how, like, I don't know, I mean, I don't know if you're on Twitter, but when they end the show, they post a picture of them, like, at the end of the show. So he joins them there, like, where they're chilling, and the guys start talking about how he was so professional, you know? And you can, like, the guys are smiling, so you know they're like, our Cookie's better, so we feel better, and we're happy about that. And Cookie's smiling, and it's just like, oh man, we went through it with you, Cookie, but we're so happy that you're feeling better. And while this scene is going on, the guys are backstage. Something that, like, I want to point out is, like, Jimin says that he was down, like, the whole day. But there was a point in when they were singing Wings that Yoongi started, like, clapping, but in a very, like, he was, like, intensely and, like, in a funny way. He was going in, and, like, he recreates it, like, in the backstage, like, Yoongi, like, does it again, and Jimin says that, like, that made his day. And I believe Hobie's the one that says it. I believe I may have to rewatch that little clip, but he's like, oh, Yoongi made Jimin's day, and Jimin's, like, smiling so bright, and it's like, wow. Of course, it could have been part of what Cookie went through, but also Jimin could be just going through a bad day. We all have bad days, and yes, they're on tour and they're performing and they're living their dream and stuff, but he has having a bad day, and but Yoongi made his day by, like, clapping aggressively, I guess, intensely, and, like, in a funny way that is just, like, made his day. Like, that right there made the day for him, and I just thought it was so cute, and I had to, like, point that out. So we're shown clips of the end of the show, and Yoongi speaking, like, through his solo interview, and like I said, they included clips after, like, how do I say, like, the show had already ended. Like I said, the guys were backstage. Jimin said about having a bad day, but Yoongi made it better. But in the actual show, they come back with, like, clips of them ending the show on stage, and Yoongi saying how, like, he does say that not every show can be perfect, but they have to, like, give it their all, and, like, he knows, and he thinks that they did a good job, and, you know, they did. Like, the Chilean army, I remember on Twitter, like, seeing that, like, they were amazing, and then, like, clips of them, and so yes, you did good. Don't worry about that, Yoongi. So we cut to March 14th, and the guys are still in Chile, and we're shown clips of each member in their hotel room. Now, I had to jot this down of, like, what every member was doing, so that way you know what every member was doing when they were in their hotel room on their time off. So we start off with Tae, and Tae is listening. What I did catch, like, he's on his laptop, and he's listening to John Legend. I did catch that. And he's writing. I don't know what he's writing. It may be poetry, it may be his journal, I don't know. He's writing something. But like I said, I did catch that he was listening to John Legend. We switched to Namjoon, and Namjoon is working on music. And that's all we're seeing. Like, he's on his equipment. Like, he has his equipment and he's working on music. Jin, he's playing or practicing on his guitar. And in this one, we do get a clip of him on his interview, and he says that while they're on tour, they have a lot of free time. So he's like, what's something that I can pick up? And he's like, well, let me practice my guitar. And then he also says that to study Japanese, and he says he got a book. Yes, he has a book, and he's like about studying like the Japanese language, and then he ends it by saying in English, "Study hard," which I thought was like super cute. We move on to Jimin, and Jimin is like reading books, or reading a book, and he says in his interview that he wishes that we didn't need to like sleep. So he says like, if it's not sleeping, I'm like reading books, whether it be comic books, whether it be novels. And but yeah, he says that he wishes like that the body didn't get tired, so that it didn't have to sleep. And he says that he once spent 7 hours on his phone. I mean, hashtag relatable. You know, when you have those days off and you're just like, and then you see the clock and you're like, what the? I was on the phone all day. We then move to Yoongi. He's also working on music. And I thought it was really cool that they showed this. But like, he's on his solo interview. And he's talking about, he says like, when I'm asked like, what inspires you like to do with the music that you do, he's like, I don't know how to answer that. But he does say that like, sometimes well, he says that like it's what he sees and what he's experiencing, but he says that like if he gets stuck, he goes back to like his journal where he writes down like his thoughts, and he says that sometimes he'll go back a month, a year, sometimes 3 or 5 years to see, and like, oh, that's what I was feeling, and that helps him go back. Like that inspires him to go and create music, and I'm just like, whoa, like that's something new. I didn't know that like he would like write, oh look, I'm feeling this, and he keeps it from like 5 years back, and then he might go back to it, and he's like, okay, well, let me make a song out of this. True artist, by the way. Okay. And then we go to Hobie, and he's working on his mixtape. You can like he has his equipment as well. We cut back with Namjoon, and I needed to point this out because it was like, whoa, like this is so true. He says that we all feel depressed and lonely at some point in our lives. He's afraid of this world, and he also feels sad and lonely. He wants to relieve himself of those feelings, though there's no correct answer. This is where I'm like, oh my god, he knows the words, like he knows how to like say stuff that it's like, oh my god, like it just hits you. It hits me. But I know a lot of people feel the same way. He says, although there's no correct answer to like relieving of that feeling, he's happy when he's trying to find the answer. That's why he does what he does. And he hopes people will feel comforted when they listen to his music. And yes, trust me, we do, Namjoon. I just thought that was so perfectly said. Although there's no correct answer, like for of course he says like, for me there's no correct answer to relieve of those feelings, like feeling lonely and depressed or sad. For him, he's happy finding that answer through music. And I'm like, yes. So then we cut back to Hobie. With Hobie, he shares that he experienced rap through Namjoon and Yoongi. And we knew this. We knew that Hobie didn't start off being a rapper. So he shares a little bit more that like when he joined the company, it was like all rappers. Like the group was all rappers. And that back, I guess, where they lived together, he said that like the guys would be like doing freestyle rap. And he thought to himself, like, I can't just sit here and watch. Like, so he gathered the courage and joined. And when he did like his little freestyle rap, he said that the guys would be like, oh, like in a good way. Like, okay, like what I'm thinking is like the guys were like, okay, he can do this, you know? And he said that like he had fun working on his rap. And look at where he is now, like mixtape and all. Like, yes, Hobie, you did a great job. So then we go to Jungkook to see what he's doing. And I think you already know the answer to what he's doing in his hotel room. He's playing Overwatch. I mean, come on. Like they said it like in interviews, and like I just thought it was so cute. He's on Overwatch. He's playing, and Yo, by the way, I love Overwatch, so maybe I someday I can play along with him, but I don't think I can because I'm on console and he's on PC. That's neither here nor there. See, that's just me going off a little bit. Okay, and I'm gonna read this chunk that I had to type because, guys, I don't want you to miss this. What Jungkook says, that it was like, oh my god. Okay, he tells us he always thinks he stopped growing mentally at 15. He was a trainee and didn't go to school. He's been working since then. The guys were always around him, so what he sees, feels, and learns is mostly from the members. They're a huge influence, and like we know this. We know that, like, he, of course, his mom and dad like raised him and stuff, but since he's 15, since he was the age of 15 and on, he's been working with the guys. So in some way, the guys also raised him, you know. And he even says it. He says he used to be very introverted, but Tay helped him break out of it. And I could just see, like, yes, in the early, like, clips of early days, you can just see how, like, Tay was always, like, trying to, like, you can just see it. Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look up, like, V Cook, and you'll see. He even says that he couldn't wash himself or take off his clothes in front of them. He says he could be a manifestation of all their characters coming together. And I have to quote this. I have to say, like, how he said it, because I was like, oh. And look, I'm already thinking about it. Okay, bring it back. Quote, I think the guys put my puzzle pieces together. They put the scattered pieces of my puzzle together. I'm not okay. Like we had we knew, like, we're like, yes, okay, the guys helped him, like, raise him, you know. He grew up with the guys, but the way he worded that, and he's like, with a smile, he's just like, they put my scattered pieces together. You're just like, okay, bring it back to professional Jose. Oh my god, guys, you know I can't be professional. Okay, so then we cut to after their performance in Chile. The members celebrate with a small chimek, which is a chicken and beer party. We learn a lot about the guys in this scene, so stick through with me. There's a lot of information. By the way, after from now on, we're not showing clips of the guys in their solo interviews at all. Jungkook is not there. Let's point that out. This is after the show, and more than likely he's resting because he went through it, like I said, and we know and we've seen it. So he needs his rest. So he's not there. So there's a lot of stuff to point out. So bear with me while I go through it all. So the guys start off in, like I said, chicken and beer party. And by the way, there's something funny that, like, I noticed is there's salads in the middle. The guys never touched the salads, so just keep that in mind. So let's start off by saying they started off talking about how they were all worried for Cookie, and one thing that to point out was that Yoongi said that he cried, and when Namjoon asks him, like, did the camera catch it? He's like, no, I was in the bathroom. I went to the bathroom to cry. Like, Yoongi is a very like, how do I, like, he's just very chill to me. Like, he's like the cool guy. He's like, yeah, like, not showing much emotion, and as in, like, crying. Do you know what I'm saying? He has a personality. I don't want it to come off bad. I think you know what I'm trying to say. And we get to learn in there that, like, yo, he has his moments too where he's like, let me go to the bathroom and cry. So he says to the guys, like, I actually cried. Like, he was so worried about Cookie, and this is like, oh my. And you understand, though. You completely understand, because you might be like that too. You might be a person that doesn't show or doesn't like to show emotion that way in front of a lot of people. So you're just like, let me step away and do it over here in my own private area space. And then Jimin shares that he asked Cookie, like, why are you going so hard? And that Cookie told him, it's our last show in Chile. And I said it before, but, like, he repeats it again, how Cookie's like, it was our last show. We didn't know if we don't know if we're coming back and how long, in a very long time. And he wanted to go all out, and well, fortunately he overworked himself. So after that, Namjoon shares that when they were on a diet, he once was eating ice cream. This was a funny little story that he told. He was with Tae at the moment when he's talking about this. He tells, like, he asked like Tae, like, do you remember? And Tae's like, yes. He said that like at one point he was eating ice cream, but they were on a diet, and he sees that like this black van pulls up behind them, and he's like, nah, that can't be from the agency. And then as soon as like he turns, like, I think like one of the guys from the van or somebody from the van is like, what are you doing? He immediately, like, they shove like the ice cream down his like pocket, like down his pants. So he has like ice cream all over his pants, and he's like, oh my god. And so he just tells him, I'm going home. And he says that like on the way home, like while he's walking, he eats it again. And it's just like, you know what? Hashtag relatable. Like, you know what? It's like, I would be eating that ice cream as well. Like, shoot, like, okay, I'm gonna go back home, but y'all ain't gonna see me eat this ice cream. I thought it was just like really cute. So then Yoongi shares a lot with us in the after that. He says that he felt very hopeless when he was a trainee. He bought lottery tickets like every week. And a little funny story that he shared was that once he was dreaming and a pig appeared in his dream, and the pig gave him like the lottery, like the winning lottery numbers. And he says that like like he picked those numbers, but and then I think it was the next day or like whenever the lottery numbers were announced, he said that like the first and the second, I'm not sure if the third like matched, and he was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna win. And then he's like, well, the rest didn't match. But he was like, he just felt so hopeless that like he just had to share that it was like, I felt hopeless, and like this pig appeared, and everybody's laughing. Like the guys are laughing. They're like, oh my god, the pig gave you the winning numbers and you actually went with it. But hey, you know what? That's happened to me. Like a pig hasn't appeared and told me, but that's happened where like I, dream lottery numbers and then I pick them, but I don't win. And after he says that, Jimin like tells Yoongi, remember when like you fell down the stairs and hurt your shoulder? And then Yoongi's like, I told you I hurt my shoulder, but I actually was in a car accident. And then Tae's like, oh yeah, you did tell us. And I think Jimin, like, his reaction is like, oh yeah, like he remembers like, oh yeah, you did tell us. And Hobie's like, really? Like what? And then he goes with his story saying that like he was delivering something on his bike, and like in an intersection a car like hit him, and he says that like his whole shoulder went under. So I'm thinking that like the tires went over. I don't know. He just says like his entire shoulder went under, and like it fell out. And I was like, oh my god. He says that like he didn't tell the agency because he was scared that like the agency will let him go because of that. Oh my god, like you can already tell like the pressure that we're feeling back then. Like anything that could like hinder your chances to like not perform well as a trainee, you're like, I don't even want to share, even though I'm in like pain. I don't want to share anything because I'm scared they're gonna let me go. But they didn't, fortunately for us. He also shares that Big Hit helped him pay for his college tuition. His family couldn't afford it. I think this was like right after that because he couldn't work anymore. And he says that the agency asked him like, why didn't you tell us before to help you? Just imagine, guys, back then, like I've heard and I've read that Big Hit didn't have money. Like they had money, but like it's not like other agencies where it's like, oh, they're well known or whatever, and they still were like willing to pay, and they did. Like they helped him pay for his college tuition. I was like, oh my god. So then Jimin goes and tells Hobie, remember we almost got fired? And I was like, what? And I'm like, wait a minute, what? And Hobie tells him, like, corrects him. He's like, no, I actually left. Now wait a minute. Yes. I was like, what? Okay, bring it back. He says that he actually left the company. He said that when he decided and told them like he was leaving, like Cookie hugged him and was crying when he was hugging him. he actually, like, Hobie actually left. He said, and then Namjoon says that he was speaking to the guys and told them, like, we need Jung Hoseok. We can't make it without him. That's why, oh my god, like, Namjoon loves them so much, and it's just like, he knew, he was like, it's not complete without him. So then Hobie says that he came back because he trusted them, and I'm like, oh my, like, yo, like I said, very insightful. We didn't know this, I didn't know this, and at the same time very emotional because you're going through it. You're like, oh my, like, yes, you're just like, yes, but at the same time you're like, oh my god, not know all of this, and like, I appreciate you guys so much. So once he says that he actually, like, left the company, they start talking about how, like, it would be a disaster if one of them was not there, like if one of the guys weren't in the group. And Tae actually says, like, I can't even think of that. Like, and I'm just like, oh yes, you just OT7. Okay, let me calm down, let me bring it back. And the scene fades away. The guys are still enjoying their time. They're talking about, like, their early days. We then are shown, like, the solo logs. I don't know if you guys remember. Well, I mean, I wasn't with them since their debut, but I've been going back to, like, previous videos and their Bangtan TV channel, and we're shown clips of the guys, like, before their debut back in 2013 when they did their solo logs. If you haven't seen any of those, I recommend you go watch them on YouTube. They're there, and the guys are talking, each one, so like I said, solo, and they're like, it's so and so of 2013. We're practicing, we're working, and our debut is, like, coming up, and it's just, like, so special that they showed this, because it just shows where they are, where they were, and now where they're at. I just thought it was so cool that they showed, like, those clips. Like I said, these editors and producers, yes. So after those clips, we cut to March 18th, 2017. The guys are in Sao Paulo. They arrive in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The Brazilian army is ready and at the airport to greet them. The guys get on their shuttle on their way to their hotel. So we cut to a clip where Hobie, Jungkook, and Tae are eating in one room. Namjoon, Jimin, and Jin are eating in another. I don't know where Yoongi is. I'm thinking, and I'm assuming that he ate by himself, or he just wanted to go to his room to rest. I don't know what the situation there was, but he's not eating with the guys. But we then do cut to the guys setting up their equipment in the room, and you see, like, Namjoon is having trouble setting up. I thought it was so cute, this part, that, like, each guy sets up their computer, like, either if it's to play video games or, like, to make music or whatever, and, like, we're showing clips of the guys actually, like, working, except for Namjoon. Like, Namjoon's still trying to figure everything out. He's like, he can't even plug this in. It's just like, oh, Namjoon, I feel for you. But at the end, he does get everything set up. Everybody's working or doing their thing on their computer. And then we're shown clips of the guys working out. And they have their own personal trainer. I think it's two, because we're shown two guys, like, helping them. But one of them is, like, you can tell he's fit, one of the guys. The other one is wearing, like, a hoodie. I can't really tell, but I'm assuming he might be fit. And by the way, while this is all going on, they're like cutting clips in and out of, like, the guys working on their own stuff. And I have to show this with y'all. You might have seen it online or on YouTube. It's so funny, but here we go. Cookie, like, through, like, those shoes flew. He got in his room and he's like, like, the shoes flew. I just had to share that. Thought it was hilarious. So then Hobie closes out the episode. He's speaking to his camera that he set up where he has his workstation in his hotel room. And you can tell that this camera is like a personal one that, like, he set up. I don't think it's like a guy filming in there. And he turns to the camera and he's, like, working. Obviously, he's working on his mixtape. And he says he's working hard even in Brazil, and that's his goal this year. Obviously, the mixtape didn't come out until this year, but he was working from then. So props to you, Hobie, for keeping your word. I mean, your word as in, like, working hard, because we can see it in the mixtape. But yeah, that ends the episode for episode 3. Then we move on to the preview for episode 4. We're shown clips of Tae and Jin arguing. like backstage. And that's the preview for episode 4. I don't know what else might happen, but we're showing that. So guys, keep in tune for stay tuned for episode 4. But yeah, that was the recap and review for episode 3. I know it was all over the place. It's just that it was a lot of information, and like I said, I really enjoyed that. It was so insightful. We got to learn a lot of stuff about the guys that we didn't know, and it was so cool to see them when they're on their time, like when they're on their off time, you know, like what they do when they're not working. And I think it's very brave of them to want to show that and to show it, because a lot of people would be like, no. I think I would. I don't know if I would be so like, yes, film me in my hotel room what I do, you know, like I don't know if it's like that. I don't know if I could be doing it. I don't know if I could do that, you know. But they were like, yes, like we're willing to do it and we want to show it. So thank you, BTS, for showing that side. But yeah, guys, stay tuned for episode 4 next week. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for continuing to watch, for those of you who are. And yeah, thank you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and until next time, adios.